It's pretty hard to leave our Sagalassos mountain retreat for the real world, but it's a big day in Turkey, as the car radio can't fail to remind us.
Some lovely music for Turkey's National Day.
Happy National Day, Happy Republic Day everyone.
And what are we doing now, William?
We are off to Pamukkale to see the travertines, an incredible sight. But yeah, we've got a bit of a drive down from the Taurus Mountains first, down these wriggly roads. But it's a beautiful day for it, and with beautiful music.
Hello and welcome to Pamukkale, which means Cotton Castle in Turkish, and you can see why, because of that beautiful expanse of white behind me, which is calcified limestone, and all of this beautiful water is running down the hill and has been doing for millions of years, creating these travertines, as they're called. And the water's really warm as well. It's a hot spring, and that is one of the reasons that there's a beautiful old Roman city, Hierapolis, which we're also going to go and investigate at the top of this hill. But first, we're going to have a dip in this lovely warm water.
You can't swim in this bit, but further up the hill, a somewhat questionable 1970s approach to conservation allowed another part of the ancient city ruins to be made into an open-air swimming pool, using the same hot spring that created the travertines. This means you can swim among the fallen Roman columns. Clearly we weren't going to pass up this opportunity.
How's the water?
It's very warm. We may have slightly got told off for filming.
No phones allowed. I mean, quite sensibly. Don't worry, we're back on track. Ancient citying again. That was a small diversion to having a nice swim over the ruins. Doing some underwater archaeology, actually, I think we can call it. But here we are, back in the city of Hierapolis. And here we are in the main thoroughfare. So you can see the travertines here. This is the water which hardens into limestone, and you can see that the ruins of the city are just over here. And over the 700 years or so after the city was abandoned due to earthquakes and warfare, etc., the limestone formed by the water actually covered the whole city and covered the ruins, and most of it they've dug up. They had to actually dig down through the limestone travertine to the ruins, but some of the buildings are still encased in that limestone or being submerged by it, so that's what it would have all been like before they started excavations here.
As the sun sets over the travertines, Turkey's national holiday draws to a close.
Such an infidel with your beer.
The next morning, it's back on the road for our final day in Turkey, and we've just got time for one last ancient city.
Beautiful APHRODISIAS,
Yes.
which we've only just started to explore before we got distracted by this little kitten. Yes, you're lovely. But this is the entrance to a big temple, which was put up in honour of various emperors, including Claudius and his conquest of Britannia. There's also meant to be lots of other exciting temples and nymphaea, etc., in this beautiful, very calm location where there is nobody else around except your little pussycats.
So now we're coming to one of the most beautiful buildings, I think, in Anatolia, which is one of the ones I've been looking forward to seeing, and that is the tetrapylon of APHRODISIAS, which is a beautiful gateway which went to the temple of Aphrodite. Isn't that glorious? It's very ornate, almost sort of Baroque in its 2nd century elegance, and 85% of the marble columns remained in situ, although a lot of them had fallen down. but they were able to rebuild it nonetheless with those marble elements that remained. So you can really get an idea of what it was like.
And this is the Temple of Aphrodite itself. It was quite the money spinner for the city, and was even turned into a cathedral after 500 AD when paganism was outlawed. But the roof was burned by Seljuk raiders in around 1200, leaving it a ruin. The massive stadium here still has engraved place names for some of the season ticket holders, while at the baths you can see the hypercaust heating system still in place. Hot air from fires would have circulated under these marble floors to keep the bathers in the steam room above nice and hot. Another rare discovery is a list of maximum prices, published under the Emperor Diocletian in a vain attempt to ward off our old friend inflation. The kind of items listed give us a colourful insight into what Romans used and valued.
In the clothing section, it talks about cloaks from Britannia, for example, and from Gaul and from Italy. But what's interesting is the comparison as well, because one of the most expensive things on the list is one prime quality African lion. That's, what was that, around 100,000 denarii? 150,000 denarii, whereas the wages for an attendant at the baths was just 2 denarii, which, according to this, wouldn't even buy you 10 large turnips, which was 4 denarii.
Meanwhile, it turns out Aphrodisias is still inhabited by these tiny Turkish tail waggers, clearly unappreciative of the history that's all around them.
You're very cute. Little bit wobbly.
Sadly, we have to bring our exploring to a close, as it's time to head back to Izmir and hand in our badge and our rental car keys. We take the ferry across the bay into the city centre in time for one last sunset cocktail. It's time to reflect on what we've seen in just one small part of this incredible country, the natural beauty, the ancient sites, the marvellous food. It's been a reminder of how interconnected East and West have always been, and how cities and empires can vanish into dust. We can't wait to explore more of Turkey, but that will have to wait for another time. For now, all that remains to say is thank you for joining us on our Turkish road trip.
Goodbye from Turkey.